Booty Butt Boy, All Systems Go. By Haiku Origami. Ants abide by the rules of the colony, the rules of the queen. An observation made by the young Skip Noka while studying a formicarium at Royal City's local laboratory. Shifting his attention to a telescope at the center of the room, he motioned over and took a peek at the stars. Millions of them twinkled in unison until one streaked towards Earth in a brilliant blaze. Amazed by the occurrence, Skip took a closer look, and upon examination, he'd come to realize it wasn't a star at all, but instead a spacecraft. "Here we go," he said to himself, reaching into his inventory. Dropping a miniature black hole disk, he leapt into it, coming to be on a rooftop. Tracing the vessel's trajectory, he followed it to where it crash-landed in Monument Park. His hoverboard spat plasma as he came to a halt just above the tree line. Skidding to a stop, the vessel let off a trail of smoke. A few moments passed before a hatch opened, thrown off by a dainty figure. A girl, a real-life alien girl, her skin blue as the sky. Her hair was sleek, silver, and drooped to her waist. Landing before her, Skip waved, offering his hand to help her down. "Asakim Asune," she yelled out, doing a flip to land behind him. "Valip Dano." "Okay," Skip murmured, turning around. "Umri me is human, you are on Earth." Eyeing him hard, she pressed a finger against his forehead, and then her irises turned from brown to purple. Downloading his lexicon, she lowered her hand and took a step back. Observing Skip, she ran her fingers through her hair, flipping it before introducing herself. "I am Jana, Empress of the planet Xerox. I seek nothing but aid. As you can see, my ship has been compromised. If you offer no assistance, then be on your way." "Hey, I'm not one to brag, but I'm somewhat of a major tech whiz around these parts." "Is that so?" "Yes, indeedy. Here, let me take a look." Becoming familiar with the vessel, Skip stripped away panels and fiddled with wiring until lights began to blink in rapid succession. The engine whirred, bringing a smile to his face. "All systems go, if I do say so myself." "Fantastic. Now it is imperative that I return to Xerox at once. My people need me." "You need some company by chance?" Skip asked, holding out his hand once more. "I could not ask you to abandon your Earth. Surely one of your expertise is warranted to stay." "Lady, I could use a vacation. Besides, Royal City has like a dozen heroes working day and night. I'm more of a part-timer." "Suit yourself, but I must warn you, danger follows me as if it were my shadow." Something middle name." Her eyes softening, Jana boarded her ship. Skip followed behind, his hands immediately drawn to the control module as he pretended to steer. Slapping away his hands, Jana shook her head. "Are you even old enough to drive?" she inquired. "I never get to have any fun," he grumbled, sticking out his tongue. "I am initiating the ship's autopilot. I'd advise you to strap in." A simple tap of a button took them into hyperspace, speed actualizing before them in a flurry of colors. Streaks of pink merged with purple orbs that became fractured light. Skip was thrust back in his seat, his cheeks flapping as he mouthed the word, "Awesome." "Gravity field stabilized," the ship voiced. Jana pressed another button, accessing the system's scanners. Intently, she studied a holographic grid that laid out several points of aversion. Tracing her finger along a rooted path, she plotted a course for Xerox. Twiddling his thumbs, Skip began to whistle a slick melody. Side-eyeing him, she turned on the radio and played instrumentations from the Fifth Nebula, a jumpy tune that brought out the rhythm in both parties. Nodding to the beat, they found comfort in each other's company. Eyes locking, a glimmer was shared. Time slowed as a spark kindled connection. "On Xerox we have a saying," she began, "Alari Naswi." "What's that, like love at first sight or something?" he replied, leaning in. "Something like that. Though I must make one thing clear. I have responsibilities to Xerox, and right now she needs me." A silence fell over them. Skip understood. Placing a hand on her shoulder, he pointed, saying, And I got your back. Asteroids flew by, becoming comets in orbit of a nearby celestial body, but it was a quasar exploding which drew Xjana's attention. Pausing, she awed at the interstellar activity, taking it in, the grandness of it all. Then, beeping occurred. On the navigational display, a message played. Empress Xjana, you have but hours to surrender your throne, else we take it by force. Deliver yourself to Panon 4 promptly. Don't test Raquiz's might. Mind filling me in? Skip asked, clasping his hands together. Politics, Xjana replied, her eyes flicking to the back of her head. Iakin believes it can lay claim to my homeworld. It was them who shot me down as I was on a diplomatic mission to unite our planets once and for all. I'm guessing that's out of the equation at this point. No, not at all. Iakin is a necessary merger. Should I be unable to accomplish this deed, it'd be a catastrophe. I'd say, so how long till? We've already arrived. Gazing out the viewport, Skip was left breathless by Xerox's glory. Breaching clouds, they skidded up a mountainous waterfall that flooded into an estuary. Following the stream, they soared above a platinum sea. Aquatic life breached crashing waves, snagging airborne critters out of a breeze. Just ahead sat a palace, gleaming under the light of paper lanterns floating around it. Triumph Day, Xjana awed, fireworks going off in her eyes. The festival, it completely slipped my mind. Who said you can't celebrate in dire times? Skip asked, throwing his hands behind his head. Is that rhetoric? Quick, land on the beach. I want to get a taste of your culture. Descending, Xjana sat down behind the partying crowd, some of whom recognized her vessel. As the off-ramp slid down, a few bystanders bowed, others threw confetti and cheered. Skip admired their outfits, flowing, colorful fabrics that glowed in the dark. On their skin, they bore markings that danced up their arms and legs. Empress Xjana, a young girl said, you aren't wearing your formal attire. Is something the matter? She speaks English too, Skip inquired, scrunching his face. She's speaking Tunept. You're speaking English. As for why I am underdressed, my friend here wanted an up-close look at the festival. Is he an alien? Another girl asked, reaching out and pinching Skip's arm. Ouch. Your Majesty, please let me adorn you with my family's symbolism, please. I'll allow it. Dipping her fingers in black paint, the little girl traced lines across Xjana's cheeks, dotted her nose, and finished by outlining her eyes. Smiling, she spun on her toes and ran away giggling. Touching her chest, Xjana watched as the festivities grew. Dancers kicked up sand, their performance drawing the attention of dozens of spectators. Grabbing Skip's hand, she pulled him along towards a less crowded area. Stopping in front of a machine, she pulled out a card, inserting it into the chip reader. Put this on, she said, handing him a wired helmet. It's a mental projector, it'll show you our future. Skip tugged his collar, but he wasn't going to say no. Adjusting the helmet, Xjana flipped a switch, and instantly Skip was shown visions of their life together. He saw them unite Xerox and Iakin under a peace treaty. He watched as they explored new galaxies, coming in contact with the unimaginable. Every moment that passed brought forth a greater experience, that is, until he was shown a grim fate, Xjana's assassination by a lone gunman. Light fled from his glossy eyes as his perception shifted, and he removed the helmet. Was that not wonderful? Skip hesitated to answer. A force tugged at his heart. He wanted to cry, but he didn't want to ruin the moment, so he lied. Yeah, it was everything I could hope for. Fantastic. Come, I must address a nation and end this ridiculous conflict here and now. Here, let me, he said, dropping a portal. Just think about where you want to go and jump in. Skeptical, she got on her knees, then stuck her head inside. Slightly offended, Skip nudged her with his foot and followed after her. Landing on her rump, she shook her fist, then realized she was in the middle of a conference. Pulling her up, Skip waved at the council members and attempted to hide behind Xjana. Your Highness, we thought the worst had occurred. Fear not, Malachi. Rakwi's trod has merely delayed the inevitable. The merger is still in effect, though I must speak to the Iakin people via transmission. You know as well as I that our frequency has been jammed. Skip if you do the honors. Sure, just use my communicator. Think, call, and it'll send a broadcast anywhere there's a receiver. People of Iakin, I am Empress Exjana of Xerox. I recently attempted to visit your world in hopes of unifying our planets and ending hostilities between our militaries, though my attempts were thwarted by your military leaders. Xerox is not your enemy and you are not ours. In time, we will learn to coexist, but first we must learn to trust. Trust me, as I trust in you. Skip didn't stick around, caught up in thoughts of what he'd witnessed. When Exjana turned around to thank him, he had split via portal. Heartbroken, a tear slipped down her cheek, causing the face paint to smudge. Trudging through a crowd, his head down, Skip looked back at the palace, then yelled at the sky. Stupid heart, stupid mental projector, stupid, stupid, stupid. Falling to his knees, he looked up at the moon to see a fleet of ships zooming towards him. Shots flew, targeting the palace and shaking up the foundation. Shields went up as a response division took to the sky to combat the enemy. A black hole disc in his hand, Skip knew what he had to do. Back in the conference room, Exjana guided the council to safety, debris tumbling around them. Managing to hurry everyone into the hall, she nearly fell victim to crashing bricks when Skip dove out of a portal, tackling her to the ground. She lay beneath him, their hearts beating in unison. Looking deep into his eyes, she leaned forward and stole a kiss. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "The machine showed me your death. I guess that triggered some abandonment issues, but I'm here." "We all die, Skip." She paused for a second. "All that matters is what happens before then." "Then let's say we pay Rakwi's a visit." Opening a portal, they traveled to Rakwi's location. Boarding his ship, they snuck their way to his command center, where he stood alone giving orders to his fleet. Activating his wrist piece, Skip wasted no time, stunning the general while Exjana assumed control of his forces. Together they ended the conflict, returning to Xerox, where they watched the sunrise from a rooftop. Her hand rested on top of his until he pulled away. "You have to go now, don't you?" she asked without looking at him. "It's okay, I understand. All I ask is for you not to lose me in your memory." "Never that," he promised, activating one last portal. "Hey, our paths will intertwine again. That much I believe in." With that, he stepped into the in-between, leaving Exjana alone to hear the birds sing a song of star-crossed lovers.